Hello, and welcome to the Philosophy Tube 150,000 subscriber Hangout. It's a pleasure to have you all here. This is always my favorite bit of the live stream because it's the bit of the live stream where nobody has yet turned up and it's just you and me, the people watching this on YouTube later on after the fact. So let's just get ourselves comfortable while we wait for everyone to turn up. We're going to burn our fingers lighting a candle. And let's open some unpronounceable wine. And let's drink to 150,000 subs. There's none of that left. Traditionally, this is the bit of the live stream where I realize that I've left the microphone muted, or maybe that the camera's not working, or something else has gone wrong. But according to the chat, which I will be reading, everything seems to be working fine. So cheers, welcome along, welcome to all the people just tuning in. Thank you for joining me. It continues to be an enormous pleasure to make Philosophy Tube for all of you. And here's to the next 150,000. It is wonderful. You shouldn't be doing a live stream on Monday. I have work to do. I know, I'm sorry. I wanted to do it the weekend, but I'm busy. I was busy last weekend. I was in Cambridge with a friend. And then I'm busy sort of for the next 3 or 4 weekends. So I just wanted to get it done because otherwise it'll be a case of like, yes, 150,000 subs, even though we've actually got like even more than that, like what happened last time. So, yeah. Somebody says, could you make a Philosophy Tube Discord group? I don't know what that means. So I'd love to, but Young Sheldon received 17.21 million views. Wow. That's a hell of a statistic. Wow. I didn't know that. One of them wasn't me, I can tell you that. Has anyone ever told you sound like Matthew McFadden when you speak? No, I don't know who that is either, I'm afraid. Odds are that if you're like, have you seen this or who's this? I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's just start chatting, to be honest. Somebody says, how is the acting going? So I graduated from acting school. It happens in stages, but I'm done recently, within the last couple of weeks. And I'm kind of out on my own. Like I'm applying for jobs, trawling through casting websites. I've written a play myself, and I'm looking into like getting it put on. I'm writing another one at the moment with a friend of mine, which I'm quite excited about as well. So really, it's just kind of make your own work is the advice that they give us, because not everyone can just do the Tom Hiddleston and just be straight into amazing movies. So it's going about as well as can be expected. So thank you for asking. Hey, somebody says, oh, NerdSync. Hi, Scott. Videos have been great lately. Keep it up. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Would you ever produce the play that you wrote for YouTube? Ooh, I don't think it would really work on YouTube because the one I've most recently completed, it's sort of necessarily live. And what I mean by that is there are some plays where like, oh, this is really cool, but this would also be this would also work as a movie. Like Shakespeare, for instance. You can do Shakespeare on stage, or you can also make a film out of Shakespeare. The thing that I've written is it has to be done live. So, and it wouldn't even work as a live stream. That's an interesting idea. Let me get back to you on that one because that might be very interesting. I don't know. Maybe it would work as a live stream, but yeah. We'll see about that. Birdkeeper Toby's here as well. Thanks, Toby. Congrats on 150,000. How many are you on now, Toby? I must nearly be catching you up. I must nearly be there. Have I ever thought about tap dancing? No, I don't think I'd be very good at tap dancing. I suppose it might be fun to try. I do want to dance more. I want to sing more as well. My old music teacher might be starting up a choir, so I might join in that. Somebody says, what's the book in the background, the big red one? So I've got two red ones here. The big sort of pinkish one is Backlash by Susan Faludi. I just finished that the other day. I need to write a kind of, you might know every time I finish a book, I write something on Facebook and Tumblr about what it's like. I haven't written up this one yet, but it was really, really good. I'm going to be recommending this one. Also here, I have Love is a Dog from Hell, which is a collection of some of the poems of Charles Bukowski, which are very good. I recommend them, although they're like very not safe for work. Max Horkheimer's The Eclipse of Reason, which I'm sort of about halfway through. Despite being accused many, many times of being a sort of Frankfurt School supporting SJW, this is the first bit of Frankfurt School anything I've ever read. And 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is my girlfriend's copy, not mine, but is still nevertheless an excellent novel that I also recommend. So that's what I have on display. The wine I can't tell you because I can't pronounce it. But do you have any pets? No, sadly, my landlord would not allow pets. I did spend the weekend with a friend in Cambridge who has a lovely cat called Socks, who is completely deaf and very, very docile, and will just sort of allow itself to be stroked and touched and poked, and it's just didn't mind me there being like, oh, an animal, like finally, because I love animals, I adore them, but never really had a pet growing up, and still can't have one yet. Somebody says they have high school in 16 minutes. Wow, I better get going. But good luck. Have a great day. I hope you have fun. Somebody says, what were you doing before YouTube? I assume you mean before YouTube sort of generally and not just like tonight. Before I was doing YouTube, I was in uni, actually. I started it in my second year of university. And and then I took a year out after uni to apply for drama schools, and then I've been in drama for the last year. Does philosophy affect your work? If by work you mean kind of my acting and my writing work, then yeah, definitely. So this, I don't want to give too much away, but this, because I don't want to get anyone too hyped, because who knows, it might never be put on. But the play that I've just finished writing is a kind of a one-man thing that I would like to perform myself, and it's set in a because there's a lot of dystopia that gets written, and I was like, that's interesting and cool, but what if it was a utopia? So it's set in a utopia, and it's also partially a response to a challenge I had from a fan a while ago who emailed me and was just like, you talk about politics sometimes, like, what's your idea of a perfect world? And I was like, you know what, that's an interesting challenge, like, what is my idea of a perfect world? So it's set in a sort of perfect utopian future, or as close as I can imagine it being. So that certainly has been informed by some of the philosophy that I've read before. As for what I was doing tonight before this YouTube, I was eating beans on toast. So, there you go. What scent is the candle you have? Wax. Yeah, I think there is a scented one somewhere in the house, but it's not in here. That would have been a good idea. I could have done that. Scott from Nerdsick says, has there ever been a video idea you've scrapped after researching and writing? Not scrapped per se. There have been a couple that I've shelved. And there's a couple that I've scripted, then I've got them in my scripts folder, but I've like never really filmed them. So I have one on like what is fate that I've got in my scripts bank. Maybe I'll do someday. Maybe I'll revisit it. The reason I haven't filmed it yet is just because I just don't think it's my best, and I keep sort of writing something that I think is better, and I'll do that instead. So yeah, I don't know about that. Let me. I can open up my script folder right now. This can be an exclusive preview for all of you who are watching the show here. So I don't know what that is. I've got What is Fate. I've got half a one, which is about whether Bob Chipman is the Humean ideal critic, which I haven't opened in a while. I've got a document that just says MMT. The Beginner's Guide to Ethics, which I started and never finished, but I should. I've got one in there, which is about sort of healthcare allocation and Foucault and biopolitics and smoking and fat phobia and just a lot of disparate things that I haven't managed to quite sort of stitch together yet. That one on Barclay can go in the recycling bin now because I've published that. I've got one about sort of superheroes and politics, which I'd quite like to revisit at some point. Ideally, I'd like it to be a collaboration with Dan Olson, but he's sort of really big leagues now. I probably wouldn't want to do that with me, but I'd love to do something on that with him because I think his thoughts on superheroes are really good. I've got some notes towards an episode on terrorism, but I don't think I can really do that justice. And in any case, that's going to be forming a part of it's going to form one section of another video. I've got like 4/5 written about the philosophy of anti-fascist action. So I've got that script there. I've got one on. Oh, that was the one I did on time. That was that. It just has a different title. And I've got one like notes towards is Uber changing human nature was one that I had an idea about, and I'm working on a series called Are You Rational, which is about sort of reasons and rationality and like what reason is, and this idea that reason and emotion are opposed, but they're not really, and there's kind of one in there about like how art can make people more rational, and yeah, that's going to be a series that I'd like to finish writing before the liberalism series finishes. So I'll like finish off the liberalism one, this liberalism series that's going on now, and then there'll probably be a couple of episodes like what I've been reading, and then like replying to comments and just sort of having a bit of a like a few lighter, more breathery episodes. Then at some point there's going to be the philosophy of Antifa because it's timely and it's going to be done. And then probably moving on to the Are You Rational series, kind of because I know that like the politics tends to come in big chunks, and that people are like, yes, that's cool, but I want to do other stuff as well. So, and I want to do other stuff as well for my own, just joy of creating things in variety. So, yeah, the kind of Are You Rational series is in the works, and that'll be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Who's your favorite actor? Ooh. I do really like Patrick Stewart just because of his range. Like Patrick Stewart can be in like Shakespeare on Monday and Waiting for Godot on Tuesday, and then he can be like Family Guy on Wednesday, Star Trek on Thursday, and something completely different on Friday. And that I respect a lot. I mean everybody will say this, but Tony Hopkins, I think he's got a real gift, and having now been trained to be an actor and understanding how he does it, that's even more cool, because it's like a professional makes it look easy, but also now that I know how he does it and I know that it's actually incredibly difficult to do, I have even more respect for it. Other than that, just the actors that I know, who are my friends. So Richard Graham is a friend. He's a legend. You can look him up. Alternative, you can watch the film Titanic, which contains one of his biggest moments. So yeah, it's wonderful. He's brilliant, and just other actors who are my friends as well. Obviously, all the people I trained with. And my significant other is an actor as well. So if I was going to say who's my favorite actor, I'd say like by default she probably wins. Can you do somebody says can you do a Scottish impression? I can, but only if anybody promises not to laugh. I can give it a go. The voyage of the Abraham Lincoln was for a long time marked by no special incident, but one circumstance happened which showed the wonderful dexterity of Ned Land and proved what confidence we might place in him. The 30th of June, the frigate spoke to some American whalers, from whom we learned that they knew nothing about the narwhal. But one of them, the captain of the Monroe, knowing that Ned Land had shipped on board the Abraham Lincoln, begged for his help in chasing a whale they had in sight. There you go. There's a bit of Scottish accent for you. I don't think it's good enough to pass like to a real Scottish person, although perhaps if there are any listening, they can tell me. But I don't include it on my acting CV the way that I include some other accents, for instance. Somebody says your Scottish accent is awful and I'm American. Well, fair enough. Irish I cannot do. Sorry. That I'm no closer to doing that. Sorry. Somebody says do the philosophy of the Emoji Movie. I've never seen it. I'm sorry. Sorry, comments are going past so fast. That'd be really cool. Yeah, sorry, Irish is beyond my capability. The only reason my Scottish is as good as it is, however good you believe that to be, is because I lived in Scotland for 4 years. Do you have a favourite acting method? Not really, no. I mean, it's kind of... I was taught so many techniques, and it's really just about kind of assembling a toolbox that works for you, the individual actor. So no, except insofar as that method which produces good acting. So is philosophy of technology a good thing? And do you have a good introductory book suggestions? I don't know about philosophy of technology per se, although I'm sure there are many. But the kind of political philosophical implications of technology. Certainly, there are kind of good books on that. But I mean, technology is such a broad field. So, I mean, Max Horkheimer, who I'm reading at the moment, talks a little bit about technology, but that's probably not the kind of thing you're after. Somebody like Paul Mason talks about it more from a kind of economic philosophy point of view. So it depends, kind of more specific. But certainly, if you Google philosophy of technology, you'll get loads and loads and loads of stuff. What type of wine is that? I can't pronounce it, but it's red. There you go. Somebody says Anthony Hopkins is Anthony Hopkins and everything he's in. Yeah, but Anthony Hopkins is really good, though, isn't he? Favorite episode of Rick and Morty? Unquestionably, the one with the parasite aliens that give you good, that kind of only give you good memories. I thought that was a really, really touching thought, like touching moral. I really liked that. Do you have any tips for A-level drama? I didn't take it. My A-levels were biology, chemistry, and philosophy. So other than like act and do it well. Although kind of, the tips I would give you for A-level drama would, I mean, I don't know the degree to which performance is like, I presume performance is some degree of the exam, but not all of it. I mean, other than just tips for like how to just act better, there's not really much I could tell you. You know, and the number one tip for acting better is always just relax. Just always relax more, even more. Have you ever seen BoJack Horseman? I have. I've seen all of them. Really, really like them. Yeah, I don't know if I have any specific philosophical thoughts on it, as the person in the chat asks, but yeah, I do enjoy it. I'll watch it. I've never had wine with a live stream before. I took a leaf out of Contra's book and had some of that. What kind of acting are you disinterested in? Bad acting. And again, I know. I mean, I love all acting, and even bad acting is sometimes interesting for why it's bad. Yeah, but if you're asking him like what kind of acting do I want to do, like radio, TV, theatre, I'd do any and all of it. And it's really kind of not up to me. It'll be for the industry, capital I, to decide where want me. So we'll see. Watch this space, but good acting always. That's the kind of acting I want to do. It's not Pinot Noir. It is. I don't know what it is, but it's not that. I don't know what the grape is. It's in French, so I'm afraid I can't tell you. My French isn't good enough. Have you read the play Equus? I have indeed. It's been a while, but I have read it. Somebody put it on when I was in uni and asked me to audition, and I don't think I did audition in the end. I don't remember what I was doing. I think I wanted to focus on my exams, but yes, I've read it and I did like it. Yeah, kind of challenging in a way that certainly if I had gotten it, I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. So, does your philosophy degree give you insights into acting that you wouldn't otherwise have had? Yes. In some ways, yes, and in some ways, part of my journey as training to be an actor was learning what my history in academia and sort of formalized academic study had done that was very helpful to me as an actor, and what it had done that was very unhelpful as an actor, and learning to sift through them. So yes, it did in some ways. Particularly, I just think being able to read a text and quickly understand it, and like being familiar and comfortable with words, which comes, not just with philosophy, but with lots of higher education, was very helpful when it came to stuff like Shakespeare, for instance. So I was able to pick up and parse the meaning of Shakespeare quite quickly in a way that not everyone else on my course was. So your voice is very soothing. Can you do audiobooks on your channel? I think yes, audiobooks tend to be very, very long. I would love to record audiobooks. I'd love to do voiceover. I have a voice reel, and I want to be getting my voice out there in the industry. So watch this space, because you're not the only person to say that. So I am I would like to do voiceover stuff. What Shakespeare play would you most like to star in? Julius Caesar, unquestionably. Right now in my life as an actor, Julius Caesar. Specifically, and not even as not as Caesar, but as Antony, because Mark Antony in the play Julius Caesar, he wakes up with a hangover, and he goes to bed as one of the 3 rulers of the world, and that must be an amazing day. And I want to be on his shoulder for that day. That would be amazing. Somebody says, "Are you doing a PhD?" No, indeed, I'm not. I have no plans to. Indeed, now that I've handed in my dissertation at the end of my acting course, that's kind of the last exam. I'm not exam. It's the last essay I'll ever write, really, other than like video essays, I guess. It's the sort of last bit of formal schooling I'll ever do. So I'm no longer a student. I'm now just a man, an actor, so and a YouTuber. I guess that's my job. Although the other day, oh man, I picked up. I just glanced at a newspaper the other day. I don't usually buy them, but I was on the metro and I saw it, and I saw the metro, in fact. And it had somebody in it who was billed as social media entrepreneur, and I was like, oh wow, I guess like that kind of applies to me. Ooh, I prefer YouTuber, to be honest. What do you think about experimental philosophy? I don't think about it enough. I don't know that much about it. So yeah, maybe that's kind of on my. I was going to say it's on my list. I don't really have a list of things that I want to research, but other than I guess my book wish list. But I would like to know more about experimental philosophy at some stage. I don't want to know more about it so keenly that it's going to be the next thing I read, or even the thing after that. But at some stage, yeah. Do you speak any other languages besides English? Ouais, je parle un petit peu de français, mais très petit peu. And my French is not good enough to really get me around France. My significant other, she speaks English, French, Italian, and Spanish, and speaks French very, very fluently, to the degree where she can say something, and I was like, "What?" And also, she has a Parisian accent as well. So we were in France a while ago. And we passed a church, and she said, "Oh, l'église Saint-Eustache." I was like, "Quoi? L'église Saint-Eustache?" I was like, "What?" And then I read the sign. I was like, "Oh, l'église Saint Eustace." She was like, "No, l'église Saint-Eustache." So I have the accent of like an English person badly speaking French. In fact, she has specifically said to me, I have the accent of an English soldier who is trying to chat up a French country maid. That's the accent that I have. And she told this to her French friend who by that stage met me, and it was like, oh yeah, that's exactly the accent he's got. I was like, all right, cheers. Basically like Sharp in the Sharp films. It's my really bad French accent. So yeah. Other than that, no. No. Sounds like John Lennon in that interview where he did the French one-liner. Do you have any advice for looking into getting into grad schools? I mean, the only grad school I ever got into was to do acting. It wasn't really a university. It was like an acting training college. So I did my master's in Scotland, where rather than do 3 years undergrad and then a separate place, you do 1 year for postgrad. In Scotland, you do 4 years all on the trot, and then you get an MA. So I got into that was technically getting into undergrad, but leaving as a postgrad. And then the way I got into do my acting MA was just by auditioning. So other than that, not really. But John, the Lit Crit guy, who, if he's not still in the chat, is certainly on Twitter, might be able to give you some good advice, because I think John, John definitely has his, well, he has just submitted his PhD, I think, haven't you, John? So, yeah. Is the candle an homage to Descartes? Retrospectively, I'm going to say yes. No, it's just because I quite like it. I don't know. I've only just really bought candles and had them around the house. It's quite nice. It's quite soothing. Yeah. Advice for those who want to learn philosophy without going to university. Well, you can read. The next question is always, what should I read? And I get usually one a week. I get one question saying, what are the books that I should read as a philosophy beginner? Which is fine. And my advice is always the same: is that it depends on what you like, and that if you find a video of mine that you like, it usually will have a recommended reading underneath it. So that might be a place to start. But yeah, it depends what you're really interested in. But go for it. Yeah. How about a game of backgammon? Can't play it. Sorry. What was your philosophy undergrad dissertation on? I didn't actually have to write one. I chose modules that I was interested in, and you have to choose modules that give you a certain number of credits. Is how it worked, and I just managed to choose around having to write one. So yeah, didn't have to write one. I'm going to start studying philosophy at the University of Helsinki next year, says Juna Koivula, whose name I've probably just murdered. I'm very sorry. Any wise words I can reflect on in the coming years? I don't know about wise words. I can give you some words. I remember at the end of like week 2 of my undergrad, I was panicking because at the start of my degree, they gave me a big long list of like, this is everything you're going to need to read and everything you're going to need to do throughout the whole thing. And their reason for doing that was kind of so that we knew everything in advance and nothing would sneak up on us. But also, as soon as I got that list, I was getting very anxious. I was like, oh God, there's so much to do. So I would say, unhelpfully, relax. That's got to be the answer to everything, right? It's just try and chill, or at least try not to worry. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really know what to suggest. Other than do the week 1 reading in Freshers Week, do the week 2 reading in week 1, do the week 3 reading in week 2, and so on and so on and so on. And that way you end up a week ahead. It's very easy to relax when you've got a week more time than everyone else. I'll tell you that. Years ago, you made an appearance on Sam Sutherland's This Exists channel in the episode on lowercase music. What other genres of music do you like, and do you like any punk or metal? I tend not to go by genre. I tend to go by individual songs. So my favorite band in the world is a Canadian band called Hey Ocean, and they're kind of very, very chilled out. I'm sure you can type them into YouTube later, or even put them on in the background as you tune in now. Yeah, they're very, very chilled out, very cool. I've got a lot of Muse on my iPod. I like Muse. I've got a little bit of the Clash and so on. My brother used to run a radio show, so quite a cool hipstery radio show. So I've got basically just inherited a lot of his music taste. So yeah, I've got a bit of everything really. If you've got any song recommendations, anything you like, by all means, send them to me. How would Descartes believe that our mind finds our body? Descartes thought that the mind and the body meet at a point in the brain called the pineal gland, which is a tiny gland that, in fact, has little to do with that, I believe. And interestingly, he may have come to that conclusion by attending a few illegal brain dissections. So there you go. He might have been probing around in cadavers that he maybe shouldn't have been doing. DC or Marvel? I don't read comics, so I don't have a preference in terms of comics. I don't read them. I don't not read them out of principle. I just don't have any. In terms of the movies, I think Marvel movies are. Is it relatively uncontroversial to say the Marvel movies are better than DC at the moment? Yeah, I feel like that's pretty uncontroversial. Yeah. Yeah. Are you still studying philosophy out with your work on Philosophy Tube? Not formally in a university, but I still read. Got a bit of Horkheimer on the go at the moment. So yeah. Sorry, the messages are scrolling by so quickly. What keeps you into philosophy outside of uni? Running Philosophy Tube really keeps me into it. Also because I'm interested. I'd like to read. I'd like to keep abreast of what's happening and read just as in what I'm interested in, really. So, do you play chess? I can, but you'll probably kick my ass. I know that Sean and H Bomber Guy have chess streams every now and again. If I had time, I'd love to do that. That'd be a lot of fun. Do you like the novel Frankenstein? Yes, I do. The play is very good as well. And Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, also wrote my favorite novel, which is The Last Man, which I think I read a bit of on the last live stream. Who's the worst philosopher and why is it Aristotle? Aristotle got a lot of stuff wrong. I don't know if he'd be the worst. That'd be a hard push to say who the worst is. There's a lot of. I imagine the worst philosophy in the world is not yet been written, or is being written, perhaps. What are my thoughts on Simone de Beauvoir? I've read Le Deuxième Sexe, which is her, I think, her most famous work. Enjoyed it. I thought bits of it were very good, bits of it were very eye-opening. It was nice to sort of go, oh, this is where the theoretical foundation of this idea that I've heard of is. It was nice to kind of go, oh, here's the, I've heard like bits and pieces of this alluded to. In the same way that if you go back and watch like a famous film like The Matrix or something, you'd be like, oh, that's where this comes from. I've seen that in so many other works. Some stuff was, I think she got wrong, and some stuff obviously like hasn't aged well. I think her discussion of trans women in particular is a bit, you know, it was a different time. The past is a different country, as they say. I read it in English, of course, as established. My French is real bad. Is my channel growing faster? I mean, it's kind of accelerating a little bit. It's interesting. Most YouTube channels, I'm told, sort of go along a bit, and they go boom like that. Mine never has. It's kind of just increased fairly levelly over the last 3.5 years now. 4.5, 3.5. I don't know. It's increased fairly uniformly. So yeah. Given your current series, What Was Liberalism? Do you consider yourself a liberal? This is an interesting question. So I get asked a lot, and indeed, don't worry, I've noticed people asking in this chat as well, like, what are you politically? And I find that sometimes attaching a label can help and clarify, and sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes if I say, oh, I am this, people then, and I've done this happened in person, so we sort of magnified online. Somebody might say, oh, if you're X, then you must agree with A, B, C, D, E. And then I'd have to go, well, I agree with A and a little bit of B, but a little bit of D not so much, and E I think is just like outrageous. And it would like, it doesn't clarify, in fact, makes things less clear, because rather than say what I do agree with, I'm then immediately on the back foot. So with some exceptions, I try to avoid that publicly. Amongst friends, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm a this. And they're like, oh, cool, interesting. If I'm like in the pub and having a conversation with somebody. So the exceptions, one of the exceptions is I don't identify as a capital L liberal, which I understand is confusing to Americans, though British people will know what I mean. I'd say I'm left wing, which is deliberately vague. And part of it, I should say, before I go any further, is that I might change my mind. I'm quite young. Maybe someday I'll read some more stuff and change my mind. So I don't want to kind of nail my feet to any particular floor at the moment. And the other exception is feminist. I will happily identify as that, because I find that when people do, and they do, say, oh, if you're feminist, you must agree with this. The thing that they present, this is usually something that is like pretty outrageous, or something that like isn't recognizably feminist, and shows more that they don't know already. So I wouldn't really have much of be able to have much of a discussion with them anyway. So yeah, those are the exceptions. I'm sure that will clarify and not lead to even more confusion. Am I on Reddit? I do have a Reddit account, and very, very occasionally I go on there and I'll comment. Usually, I'll see if anybody's mentioned philosophy tube, and they'll just be like, hey. Often, not well, yeah, often I'd say. People have mentioned it and have some constructive criticism, and I'll just reply, hey, thanks. I don't tend to post much really on Reddit. I don't have time more than anything else. It seems like a really big deal. Like it seems like a whole world, and I just don't really have the time to get into it. Sorry. Alex Carras, Ollie, hear me, please. I hear you, Alex. Somebody says, would you do ASMR? Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't really know how to start and get into it, but yeah, if you'd like me to, I can speak quietly. That's about all I know about ASMR, is that it involves speaking very quietly. So maybe, who knows? If somebody could, like, if there's a beginner's guide, ASMR for dummies. Yeah. Do you prefer Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings? Lord of the Rings, by virtue of the fact that that's the only one of the two that I've seen. I haven't seen Game of Thrones. Everyone, including my brothers, keeps telling me, "Oh, like get into it, you love it." But the last big series I got into was Lost, and then the ending came out, and I was like, that was kind of a waste of time. So what I want is to wait until the ending of Game of Thrones is out, and people say yes, it's good before I get into it. And also, you know, being a British actor, at some stage, it's possible that I might end up going up for an audition for Game of Thrones or for one of the spin-offs, which I'm sure they'll make. So at some stage, I will have to understand what it is and how it all works. Otherwise, you know, I'll just be going to an audition looking like a fool. So I imagine at some stage I'll be able to get into Lord of the Rings, but but it is not this day. Oh, cool! Somebody said that they liked my series on Marx. That was very old. I did that a long time ago. Somebody asks the inevitable question that comes up every live stream, and then I've answered every time, which is, what do I think about the School of Life? And the answer is always the same, which is that I've literally never watched it. I watched 1 minute of School of. I think I watched 1 minute of one of their videos, and other than that, I just haven't seen it. So I don't really watch a lot of YouTube videos at all, actually, and this relates to something else that's being asked in the chat: is have I seen some response videos to what I've made? I mean, I'm aware that somebody's made something, but I don't really watch a lot of YouTube. Well, that's kind of not entirely true. I mean, I stick YouTube on when I'm cooking. Basically, that's what it is for me. It's to have something kind of in the background while I cook, because I love cooking and it relaxes me. So I'll stick on an H Bomber Guy or a Sean and Jen either when I'm cooking or when I'm kind of eating my lunch on my lunch break. I'll stick something on and I'll watch it. If I'm gonna like sit down and watch it and digest it, it'll be usually like a PBS Idea channel or like sit down and watch it with like undivided attention, not while like eating or cooking or doing anything else. Not that I don't pay attention the rest of the time, but if I'm gonna do that and like sit down and like boom, it's gonna either be a ContraPoints or a PBS Idea channel. Usually, it'll be like sometimes I'll flit around and do other things, but other than that, I'm just kind of, you know, I do what I'm interested in, and then I read the comments, so I get feedback that way. I have watched a few response videos to stuff I've made over the years. Like there was that one famous one, which again, who I won't name, and I'll explain this in a minute as well. There was one famous one a while back who even did a collaboration with someone else taking down my video, and because of what they said in the video, it was evident they hadn't watched all of mine. So at that stage, I was like, well, you know, I'm not asked really. The other thing is that I made myself a promise when I started doing YouTube that I would never, ever use it to deliberately make anyone feel bad. That I would never use my platform to sort of aggressively attack anyone or aggressively go after anyone, or deliberately try and make anyone feel small and bad. So for that reason, if I don't have anything positive to say, I will usually say nothing. That doesn't mean that just because I've said nothing, I think negative things. You know, that's not a reversible thing. It just means that if I don't have anything positive to say, odds are I won't say anything. So yeah, that's why if somebody says, oh, like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, odds are I haven't seen it. So. Somebody asks, well, no, I'll say it verbatim. Do you rip fat clouds while vaping? I don't vape. Nor indeed smoke. Oh, Shay Lindsay. Yeah, somebody says you should watch Lindsay Ellis. I do. I really enjoy her film theory stuff. You know, since like graduating as an actor, I like to know how film theory and stuff works. So I'm really enjoying her series, The Whole Plate. That's real good. And I watched H Bomber Guy's new video Scanline as well, about like VHS, which I really liked, and that was kind of made me nostalgic. The old days. Yeah. Do you also know psychology? No, I don't. Not hugely. Do you check your Tumblr? Yes. You know, every now and then I'll go into Tumblr. I do read the questions. I don't always respond because sometimes there isn't really a response, or not an appropriate response I can give. So if you sent me a question on Tumblr and I haven't replied, I'm sorry. You know, it's not to say I won't ever, but yeah. Yes, I do. I do read my Tumblr and do enjoy it, actually. Some people are asking me about drugs. I probably can't answer that. It's probably not a good idea for me to be answering that. A little while ago, somebody asked Jeremy Corbyn, like, what's the naughtiest thing you've ever done? He's like, it's much too naughty to tell. So I'll give the Corbyn answer to that. Will you make Mike Rignetta and ContraPoints collaborations? I mean, I would love to. Unfortunately, it's not just a question of like making them out of thin air, but yeah, if Mike, I don't know what Mike's going to do next, but if I can be a part of that, I'd love to be. And similarly, Contra, always got time for Contra. Yeah, all the time. Contra every day. Let's just have a scroll through here. Are you negative and aggressive to people in your non-YouTube life? You know what? Less than I used to be. Yeah. Less than I used to be. Since having gone through acting and realizing that acting is what I really want to do and that it brings me a lot of joy, I'm kind of much more relaxed and happy than I ever was. So, yeah. Not always. Sometimes. Nobody's perfect, but yeah. What do you read on the toilet? Twitter, usually, if it's anything. Although I'm trying to get Twitter off my phone. I'm like trying hard and failing. But where did you grow up? I grew up in Newcastle upon Tyne, in the north of England. It's the last city in England before you hit Scotland. Last major city, anyway. Last big city, I should say. Berwick is pretty major because it's awesome. But antinatalism? ? I did a video on that, if that's what you're asking. Yeah. Are you a cat person or a dog person or another animal person? I love all animals, with the exception of the giant spider that lives somewhere in my flat and has escaped me twice. Who is no doubt listening to this even now. Maybe he's watching on a live stream from underneath my washing machine with a tiny laptop. Just waiting for his moment. But yes, with the exception of the giant spider that lives somewhere in this flat, I love all animals. If I were to choose, I'd probably start with a cat just because it's easier. But my significant other is allergic to cats, and so we couldn't have one even in here, even if it was allowed. What's the most progressive anime you've ever seen? I've never thought to rate anime on a scale of how progressive they are. Although, having seen Kill la Kill, I understand the idea of a less progressive anime. Like, my favourite is problematic, but I do really like Kill la Kill. Like, I think it's like fun and intelligent, and I enjoy imagining the impossibility of making it into a film. So I don't know. I've never even thought to rate anime that way. How do you feel about discussing Plato's Republic and how it relates to the problems of the world today, specifically with tyranny and the problems of democracy? I could go back to Plato's Republic, I guess. I did a video on Plato's Republic a long time ago that I, in retrospect, am quite dissatisfied with. So, yeah, maybe. Again, I think that's something that's not going to be the next thing I do, and it's probably not going to be the thing I'll do after that. But someday, maybe, I'll go back to Plato's Republic. Certainly, it could be helpful to students to revisit the classics. Could you make a video about the ethics of self-driving cars? Ooh. Yeah, maybe. Ethics? Never thought about that. It could be quite fun. Maybe it could be part of that video I'm trying to write about Uber. Loosely trying to write it. I've got other things I want to try and write first. Zizek, Sniff. I did a video analysing one of Zizek's books a while ago, which I quite enjoyed making, actually. Kind of in-depth analysis of the book, so that was fun. Yeah. Do you feel 150,000 subscribers is going to limit how meaningfully you'll be able to interact with your community? Ooh. I mean, how do you measure like the meaningfulness of an interaction? Really, that's something that only you all could ever really measure. For you, anyway. I still find the interactions with you all incredibly meaningful, and I enjoy them a lot. Sometimes they're kind of challenging in good ways and bad ways. So no, I don't think so. It just means that there'll be more opportunity for more of them, I guess. Yeah. Why am I watching this instead of studying for chemistry exams? Only you can answer that, my friend. Sorry about that. I guess Miyazaki and I guess Studio Ghibli, like Princess Mononoke. He's arguably kind of quite progressive environmentalist. Yeah. Oh, fair enough. All right, I'm coming around to the idea of rating animes. Anime in terms of progressiveness. How progressive is Attack on Titan? That's a hell of a show. I love it. Doodly doodly doo. Do you ever feel the ethical obligation to go vegan? I am less vegan than I should be. I went through a sort of almost vegan patch like just a few months ago, and then kind of backed off. So yeah, it's a battle, and it's a sliding scale, and I got quite a few sort of vegan or at least vegetarian meals on the menu this week. So it's yeah. I subscribed yesterday and just stumbled upon this. Somebody says, "Could we get a petition for a topless stream if we get to 200,000 subs?" I'm not going to promise anything, but if I keep going to the gym between now and yeah, maybe for the top Patreon subscribers. No. I don't know. Let's not rule anything out. Attack on Titan is reactionary and nationalist. No, I've never heard that take before. If you've any like links to articles about that or anything, let me know. Send that to me. Thank you for introducing me to PBS Idea Channel. I know, right? They're great. It's a shame they're gone. Yeah. When you first started making videos, did you find it hard to stop reading and just write down something to say? Not really, because the first videos I ever made, you can go back and watch them, are usually just like, here's what I learned in class. So it was kind of came pre-chopped. Yeah. How much would you have to be paid to read a Sam Harris book? I, in fact, paid to read one of his books many years ago, which was an important step for me, I think. That's all I'm going to say about that. There we go. Do you believe that our generation is preconditioned to totalitarianism? I'm going to defer that question until you see What Was Liberalism Part 4 in 2 weeks' time. So that something like the answer to something like that question is coming. Just hold on. I've never seen Yuri on Ice, to the people asking. Yeah, I've seen like GIFs of it on Tumblr, I guess. Yeah. Greetings from Austria. Greetings back to you, Austria. Where is your bookshelf? It's in that room, which is my bedroom. The room that you see on the show is my bedroom. This is well, it's just the other room of the house. It's kind of every other room is in one, other than the bathroom. It's quite a small flat. Earl Grey tea or English breakfast tea? Tea, Earl Grey, hot all the time. I'm actually quite a Lady Grey man these days. If you've never had Lady Grey, get involved. There's a bit of citrus in Lady Grey. It's good stuff. There you go. Pedagogy of the Oppressed is on my list. I think it's on my Amazon wish list, so maybe I'll get around to it someday. Some interesting questions here. Good. What's the most British thing you do? I mean, what are the most British things one can do? Drink tea. Deny a history of oppression. I mean, I don't know. I do drink a lot of tea, even for an Englishman. Although, you know, it's my significant other who says that, and she's American and French, so yeah. Again, people are asking me to criticize people in the comments. Like, if I don't have anything positive to say, I'm not gonna say it explicitly. Anyway, what makes a question interesting? Ooh, whatever that is. Somebody says they'll have to reread What Terrorists Want. Yeah, I do read that book, despite Louise Richardson's recent comments in the news, which is somewhat upsetting given that she's the former chancellor of my university. I'm somewhat ashamed of that. What Terrorists Want is still a very good book. I do recommend it as a good. If you've never like read anything about terrorism before, other than like the news, get that book because it'll be like, oh wow, we can actually think about this. It's not we don't just have to react. It's something that we can study as well. So that's very interesting. Thoughts on manufacturing consent. That's a kind of interesting book. I did like it. I liked it as much for the history really as the theory, because a lot of the history of it is just stuff that I've never been taught before. So I wrote a little thing about it on Tumblr and Patreon, so I won't harp on it here. But yeah, I did like it. Thank you to the fans who recommended that I read that. Do 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 do. Is John Oliver correct in calling the British Museum the world's largest crime scene? Oh, I'd never heard that expression. Isn't the crime scene where the crime is committed though? It's like world's largest evidence locker, maybe. Like surely. Yeah. Drink a lot of tea while standing politely in line is the most British thing to do, I guess. But other people stand politely in line. Like I've been to other countries where they queue. I don't know what this queuing fixation is. Like other countries queue all the time. Surely you must queue in America. Gin and tonic? I've not had a gin and tonic in ages, actually. Yeah, I've not had any spirits in ages. Can't really afford to drink very much, to be honest, these days. And I'm trying to cut back on the booze calories. He said, "It's a special occasion. Come on." Can you do a video about sci-fi and politics? Maybe something more specific than that, rather than just generally sci-fi and politics. But yeah, again, I'm not going to rule it out. Yeah, sounds good. These suggestions are nice. Tea instead of coffee, or tea in addition to coffee? Tea instead of coffee. I gave up coffee when I was about 16 because a girl I had a crush on at the time said that it stained your teeth. I don't know if it does or not, and tea probably does as well. But all the same, I gave it up and I haven't really gone back to it. Yeah. Do you like science? Love it. Yeah, 2 of my A levels were in science, and I did some astrophysics at university as well, kind of like casually. That was fun. Yeah. You've answered a lot of my questions, Ollie. Thank you. No, my pleasure. Have you ever been to post-Soviet countries? I've indeed been to Russia and Poland. Yeah, I don't think I've been to any others, but indeed I've been to the post-Soviet country. It's very beautiful, Russia. It's very, very beautiful. What's your favourite work of art? Probably Mary Shelley's novel *The Last Man*. I have to say, although I realise this is very vague and unhelpful, but there is a painting by a Scottish artist which is of my home county, which was painted in the late 1800s, and it hangs in the basement of the Edinburgh Museum, and it's beautiful. And I know neither the artist nor the name of the painting, but I could identify it if you showed me a picture of it. So that's my favourite painting, certainly. Thoughts on the movie The Matrix? I love it. I think it's really good. And a relative of mine is in it, so I kind of have to like it, but it's also really good. So, oh, these are going so fast. What do you think is the role of the artist in society? Ask me again in 60 years when I've done it. But I guess to challenge, to inform, to do that which cannot be done elsewhere. Those are all suggestions. To survive. Yeah, I don't know. These are all great questions, though. Have I ever been to Runcorn? No. I don't know what that is, I'm afraid. No. Who would you rather marry, Sean, H-Bomb, or Contra? If I had to choose, had to choose. Marrying Contra would allow me to work as an actor in the US. That's one factor that leaps out, as well as the many, many other advantages of marrying Contra. So, yeah, I think I'd go with that of the three. No offense to Sean and Harris, but yeah, I think that would be my choice of the three. Yeah. Do I think being clever or smart is requires having a good memory? Ooh. I don't know. I'm not really sure what kind of being smart consists in. I think having a good memory is certainly going to help. It's certainly going to help people think that you're smart, convince them that you're smart. I don't know. Just having a good memory. And then I guess something like an IQ test measures your ability to figure stuff out, not your ability to remember things. It depends. I mean, some people have good memories for different things as well. Like people have good memories for facts. I have a terrible memory for names. They're gone if I don't write them down. I literally, since becoming an actor, have like an Excel spreadsheet of like, here's the name of the person that I met. This is who they work for. Like, this is how I met them. Because otherwise, I'd be like, I met that agent and they really liked me, and I have no idea who they are or how to even begin looking for them. So I write it down. So it depends. Like, yeah, I'm not sure. Curry, yes or no? Yes, please. I'm hungry. I've already had beans on toast. I mean, I'm trying to be good with my food, but yeah, if you're getting some, yeah. Mine's chicken tikka karai. If there's one going, cheers. And garlic coriander naan. Yeah. Are you LGBT? No. No. Do you only need weapons like cool swords? Not here that I can show you. I did get a machete for my 17th birthday from my mates. They just gave me one. It's at home in Newcastle. Yeah, here, no, probably the most deadly thing I have is this cigarette lighter. So, sorry. No, I can't show you any interesting weapons. I can already hear the Ollie and Contra fan fictions rolling in. I mean, I hope so. If there's, I mean, I've said this before. If there's art or fan fiction, I'll put it on the show. I'll put it there. Some of the art that Contra gets, some of the fan art is amazing. Like, there's some incredibly talented artists out there. It's wonderful. Somebody made fan art of her and I a while ago, which I think is just brilliant. I wish I was that talented. So yeah, if you've got anything you want to send it to me, don't hold back. Like, yeah, go for it. I'll read it and stick it on the show, as long as it's not, you know, horrendously explicit or anything. You know what? Actually, you know what's really interesting? I've had hate mail, and I've had fan art, a little bit. But until the other day, I had never had hate art. And somebody did recently send me, for the first time, hate art. I was like, wow, you've put time and effort into making this. Why? Why did you do this? Like, well done. It looks kind of very odd, but yeah, it's just I didn't save it, so I can't show it to you. Unfortunately, it's just kind of like a distorted version of my face, and then like meme writing of like something I never actually said. But yeah, it was very interesting. It was a step. Do I smoke? No, I don't know where this lighter came from. Actually, must have been somebody else's. Or maybe I just got it for the candle. I don't really remember. No, I don't smoke. No, I used to, but I gave it up when I was a teenager. Yeah. I bought my first sweet potato today. Why? I don't know, but I'll tell you what you can do with it. If you here we go, because I love cooking, right? If you take your sweet potato and kind of rub it in olive oil and salt, and you stick it in the oven at about 180 degrees Celsius, you just kind of bake it till it's nice and soft. Meantime, if you get some Thai red curry paste, some crushed garlic cloves, just a couple, You want to get some coconut milk, low fat's fine. You want to get some soy sauce, some sriracha, and some peanut butter, and you want to combine all of that in a pan, and then it's into kind of like gloopy sauce. And then you put a bit of fresh coriander in that, and then when the potato's done, you can cut the sweet potato open, pour the sauce over it, and you can put some like crushed peanuts, some fresh coriander, and some like, chopped spring onions or some chopped red onion. Sprinkle that over the top, and you've got like a really nice dinner. So Thai red curry, peanut butter, sweet potatoes, they're real good. They're absolutely delicious. There you go. What are your favorite TV shows? Depends what I'm watching. I am watching a TV show at the moment that everyone has recommended to me, and it's really, really good. I'm deliberately not going to tell you what it is because I don't want anyone to spoil it for me in the chat because I'm only like 2 episodes in. So I am watching something at the moment that is bloody brilliant, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is. Sorry, I realise that's very frustrating, but I guess if you check out like my Twitter, then some stage I'll tweet about it. Do you have any uni meal ideas or meals you ate at uni? Yeah, that was one of them. Sweet potato, Thai red curry, peanut butter, sweet potatoes. I used to eat that at uni. I used to make damn good meatballs as well. I've not made meatballs in a while because meat's expensive. But yeah, I love cooking. I cook fresh every day. Would you ever go to VidCon? I'm not going to promise anything or commit to anything, but I would like to be at the next VidCon. I don't really know how it works or kind of what tier of ticket I need, but I would like to go. If only to meet Contra, of course. I'd love to. That'd be wonderful. Favorite meal of the day? Dinner. That's where I get to be the most creative. Yeah. There was a Reddit thread that said you smoked. I mean, link me to it. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Would you consider a video about the Matrix and Descartes? Well, I guess I could, but that's been made loads of times, hasn't it? Like the philosophy of the Matrix and like mind and body, and if I could come up with some kind of philosophy tube twist on it, maybe. Other than that, it's kind of been done. Yeah. Somebody says, remember to stab the potato with a fork. Yeah. Stab the sweet potato with a fork. Do it. That's real good. What is a uni meal? A meal that I used to eat at university. Sorry. Should have made that clearer. Speaking of dinner, need to go and make some curry before my class. Cool. Have fun. Enjoy it. I tell you what, I make a damn good Madras curry. Oh, I'll tell you what, son. I make some pretty good curry. Yeah, and kind of it's actually better if you leave it overnight to marinate. It's real good. Do you like maths? No, not really. I'm bad at maths. I've not studied maths since I was like 16, and I had quite a bad teacher as well. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of maths. I'm also really bad at it. And people are trying to spoil every single thing for me now. Mr. Sean and Jen says he wants to do a fan meetup, but isn't sure anyone would come. Would you consider doing a group fan meetup with your other YouTube friends? That's not a bad idea. If they were based in London, that would be fun. You know who is based near me and who I'm friends with is Neon Fiona, and I understand her fans are quite keen to meet up. So maybe we should do something together. I've been meaning to kind of hang out with her recently anyway. So yeah. Darth Vader is Luke's father. Yeah. You and Contra crush on each other so hard in your live streams. I mean, can you blame me, really? Do abstract objects exist? I'm gonna preemptively say. I'm gonna like tentatively say no, but I'm going to be proved wrong. People are replying to each other in here, and it's kind of difficult to tell who's talking to who. How did this turn into a cooking show? Just because I love cooking, really. Although, you know, I only had beans on toast tonight because it was just me. I really like cooking for someone else, specifically one other person, but also anyone generally. Yeah, I love it. It relaxes me. It's really relaxing. I used to when I was at university, I used to cook at the end of the day and then not do any work after I'd cooked, because it was like the end point of the day, and it just really helped me relax. So I'm good at baking as well. I make a damn good Bakewell tart, and I make damn good parkin, which is a Yorkshire dessert that kind of you eat around Guy Fawkes night. So I'm going to be making that soon. It's good. Yeah, and my significant other is American as well, so I like making sort of British things for her that she's never had before, which is really sweet. Yeah. Stab a sweet potato with a fork. Is this couch as comfortable as it is horrible looking? Yeah, it is pretty comfy. I've covered it with pillows as well. It's I think I got it for free. It didn't come with the flat, but I managed to get it from somebody who lives around here. Kind of, it's knackered and old. Yeah. People are talking about Fight Club as well in the comments. It's interesting. How do you know everybody? They didn't phrase it like that, but somebody says, how do you know everybody? Twitter and Summer in the City, the big YouTube convention in the UK, is how I know lots of people. Yeah. Thoughts on what Contra said about you in a stream? I mean, I'm very flattered. She might be talking about a different British actor, of course. But yeah, no doubt somebody else saying this to her. In which case, hi, Contra. How you doing? This bit's especially for you. I would say cheers, but I've run out of wine. The other day, my intro to philosophy class used one of your videos. It was nice to recognize your voice. Hey, awesome. I'm glad they're using it in class. That's really nice. What do you think Kant would say about the current political climate in the US? Probably something in German, I imagine. Yeah. Please do a live stream from your kitchen. I mean, technically I am, since this room is like every room of my house except my bedroom and bathroom because it's so small. But yeah. OTP. Do I write? Yeah, all sorts of things. Plays, shopping lists, the scripts for the show. I don't improvise them. All right, I know this person's been asking for ages, so tell me if you prefer analytic or continental philosophy. I don't think the distinction is really very clear. That's why I haven't been answering it. I did a video on that a while ago, so there you go. Gerrard or Lampard? I know that they play sports, but I don't know what sport. But I don't know what sport. So whichever one you prefer, I'll have some of that and a garlic and coriander naan. Turn the camera and show where you cook. I would, but it's dark over there, and the lights are actually broken at the moment. If I turn them on, then the fuse box will go, and the internet will go, so it'll be a whole thing. So I'm afraid I can't. It's quite dark in here. Yeah. Okay, I think I might wrap it up soon. So, if you've got any more kind of last-minute quick questions, why don't you just chuck them in right now? Why not start a cooking channel? I mean, I could, but it's a lot of time, really, isn't it? And also, I feel like there are a lot of cooking channels, whereas there's not a lot of people doing what I do. And I like to have a niche and then just keep digging in the niche and keep digging in the niche and see where that takes me. So yeah. Also, I like cooking for myself and just on my own time and privately and for my friends, and it's a nice, relaxing thing I do. I wouldn't like it to become work. Although that said, acting gives me enormous joy, and I love that that's work. So, yeah, there you go. People are asking me what I think about various people who I'm guessing are YouTubers, but I'm sorry, I don't know who they are. Digimon or Pokemon? It's got to be Pokemon, not just because Birdkeeper Toby's watching, but yeah. Gotta like that Pokemon. Although, I mean, I've not played it in years, so. Um, have you watched Black Mirror? Yes, loved it. Loved it a lot. It's real good. It's fun anyway. It's kind of challenging and thought provoking in a kind of ooh way. Do you ever participate in formal debates? Not anymore, really. I mean, I did at university. I won some prizes for debating at uni, but I found it to be a bit too performative. Yeah, it's kind of not really kind of interesting. Um, what would Aristotle say if he saw you drinking? Something in Greek, probably. Um, so I wouldn't really understand it. Um, yeah. Which app or site is the best way to ask you questions? Woo! Depends on the question. If it's just a kind of like a general query about something, like Twitter, I check fairly regularly, so you can follow me on that. If you've, a lot of people on Tumblr tend to ask me questions that skew more towards the personal, which I don't always answer, but I do always read. If it's like a business thing, if you want to like hire me to be a tutor or do a sponsored video or something, then email me. And then occasionally people, and then like the Facebook page is really just very random things. People ask me all sorts on there. So I read just about everything I get, even if I don't answer it. So yeah, if you've got a question, by all means. Will you get an Ask FM? I mean, like, I don't think I need another thing. Like, do I need another thing? The same way I don't think there's going to be a philosophy tube Instagram, but I just don't think I really need another thing. Sorry if that's kind of inconvenient. Just if you want to ask a question, just email me. You know, just drop in and say hi. Okay, last few questions. Any advice for somebody thinking about starting a YouTube channel? I get this question a lot. My advice is always the same, and it's don't go into it with stars in your eyes. Really, most YouTube channels don't make any money, and it's really when you start out, YouTube is a second job that you have to pay to do, and it's difficult, and it can be very dispiriting at times. But if it's what you want to do, because you want to do it for its own sake, then absolutely go for it. Because it can be very rewarding. I still have some incredible friendships from doing YouTube and some incredible growth as an artist and I think as a human. But don't do it because you want like fame, money, or attention, because it ain't gonna happen. More often than not, it ain't gonna happen. So he says, as a very lucky man who manages to make YouTube his job for now, anyway. When you create new dishes, do you think of the sum of the ingredients or some interaction that transcends the parts? I just can't make it up, really. I'll just be cooking something. I'll be like, "Oh, that'd be good. Let's chuck some of that in," and then it kind of works. Well, sometimes it works. 90% of the time it works. Sometimes it ruins it. But yeah. Mm. Do you do hangouts? Am I not? Am I not? Is this not one? Are we not doing a hangout now? Have you ever been approached or assaulted by a fan in the street? I've never been assaulted by a fan in the street. I've been approached by a few. Yeah. People have asked for autographs, and the funniest story I have is I was once in a play in a major city that was in a shopping centre, and we had to be disguised as members of the public and had like secret earpieces so we could hear what was going on. And then at various points we would come in and just like look like we were walking past, and then just stop dancing. And whilst I was waiting for my cue, just kind of hanging outside a shoe shop, somebody came up to me and was like, "Oh, you're Ollie from Philosophy. Like, I love what you do." And I was like, "Awesome, man. Yeah, like great to meet you. Like, I'm really sorry. This is going to sound like really, really wanky, but I'm actually in an immersive theatre experience right now. I'm in this play right here. Like, I can't. I've got like, sorry, I've got to go." Like, it's just started dancing. So that was really, really bizarre. But yeah, people have come to see me. I was in a play in Edinburgh a few years ago, and somebody waited outside the stage door to see me. She was very nice. Her mum was there as well, so it wasn't like weird or anything. Yeah, kind of. She wanted autographs, so yeah. People come up to me, and it tends to happen in clusters as well. It tends to like I'll go a few months and nobody recognizes me, and then I'll get sort of 3 or 4 in a week or even in a day. So if you do see me out and about, like if you're in London or whatever, like yeah, by all means, come up and say hello. Yeah, I'd love you to. Don't ever feel nervous or that I'm busy or anything. Yeah, by all means, come and say hi. Mm. Do owls make it dark outside? Or does it get dark and then owls happen? I'm pretty sure it gets dark and then owls happen. But it's dark now and there aren't any owls, so checkmate, atheists. Yeah. What does your significant other do? She's an actor and an acting student, and she's a tutor and an editor and many, many other things besides. All of them wonderful. Yeah. There we go. I think. Has anyone ever come up to you when you were with your significant other? Did it make you look cool? No, no one's come up to me since we got together when I've been with her. Wait, have they? Well, kind of. There was somebody who, like somebody who's now a kind of acting contact, kind of a friend who found me through YouTube, who has met her. Like he's like the only person I think who watches the show who knows who she is. So yeah. Other than that, yeah. And I don't think it would make me look cool. I think she'd be like, "Wow, okay." She doesn't really sort of. She's not really into YouTube and thinks it's very odd. But you know, it's still very sportive and everything. Okay, I think it's probably time to wrap up. So all that remains to be said is thank you all for coming, and not just for coming along and watching this live stream, but for watching the whole show. It's wonderful to have so many amazing people who watch the show. It makes me feel very happy and joyous and lucky. So I hope you continue to watch it, and I hope it continues to be what you love and a quality that you appreciate. Long may it stay that way. Thank you all for coming along. It's been really wonderful. I'm going to have a cup of tea since I've now finished my wine. Sit back, wait for the Twitter messages that will tell me that somebody sent this to Contra. And I'll see you all. I'll see you all on the internet. I'll see you for Friday's episode. What was liberalism? Part 3, neoliberalism, which I'm a little bit nervous about, but yeah, I'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.